2025. They won this one without scoring a touchdown. But before we dive into the issues and things like that, let's just take stock in something here. And it's something I've mentioned quite often on the KOMO Sports End Zone, quite often when we do these rapid reactions when the games end. There's something to be said, and there's something special about a team that can find so many different ways to win. And that's what the Seahawks team is doing, whether it's runaways like we've seen over so many teams like the Vikings and others, whether it's the close calls like we saw against the Indianapolis Colts. 6 field goals from Jason Myers, absolutely the difference in this one. Crazy to think about that. 18-16 was the final. Jason hit a field goal to give the Seahawks the lead. Then with 47 seconds left, the Colts got a 60-yarder to take a 1-point lead at 16-15 before the Hawks came down the field in the final seconds with 18 to go, giving Jason Myers one more shot. And 56 yards, it's almost like we expected from Jason Myers. That is a long way to kick the football, but he made it. And that gave the Seahawks the 18-16 win after Kobe Bryant was able to intercept Phillip Rivers to end this thing. And by the way, do you think Kobe Bryant, who was drafted in 2022, ever thought he was going to intercept Phillip Rivers, who retired at the end of the 2020 season? I don't think so. But that's what it is. And however you get the win, certainly there's things to clean up. And there is after every game, but certainly you want to be getting to the end zone, and we've talked about that at length often when we do these things. But however you want to look at it, the Seahawks are 11-3. And if you said to anybody back in July, hey, the Seahawks are going to be 11-3, you would have taken it. You don't care how it comes. You don't care in what manner. You don't care if it's what it is. You take it. And you're tied for the NFC West lead. And this win today, however ugly or whatever you want to, whatever adjective you want to use, it sets the stage for an epic showdown Thursday night when the Rams come calling here to Lumen Field, first place in the NFC West are on the line. The Rams won a bit of a barn burner with the Detroit Lions earlier today. So that's setting that stage up. You don't get that. You don't get the thing we are going to talk about all week unless you win this game, however you win it. Jason Myers hitting 6 field goals. And let's talk about that. An unsung hero. He has made 22 field goals in the Seahawks' last 6 games. He's 22 of 23. The only miss came from 61 yards. Not many guys can make a 61-yard. And it's not that like he can't make it. He's done it, and certainly we see it every day at practice and at warm-ups here before the games at Lumen Field. It's just a long way to kick a football. And that's the only one he missed was from 60-plus yards in that loss to the Rams. So props to that. You know, a lot of fans take it for granted until they don't have somebody like Jason Myers kicking for them. But it's really impressive what that guy is able to do week in, week out, year in, year out to give this Seahawks team a huge advantage. Because, yeah, but let's be honest about it. The last few weeks, the offense has struggled to finish drives. They were just struggling in general for a lot of the first half in this game. And even when they got it going a little bit at the very last drive of the first half, or certainly in the last little bit of this matchup, even when the offense got things rolling just a little bit, they couldn't finish. They couldn't find the end zone. And that can be something certainly that can cost you football games. You're going to lose a lot less of them if you have somebody like Jason Myers kicking field goals. So that's huge. But let's talk about that big takeaway, especially with the Rams coming calling. Not finishing and Jason Myers having to kick so many field goals was an issue. And that loss down in LA last month. So you have to, on short rest, just 4 days from now, figure it out. Or at least do your best to mitigate the issue. Because the issue hasn't been so much moving the football, although the run game kind of struggled once again like we hadn't seen in a little bit. But the issue is getting close and not finishing. And that's got to be something, certainly they're obviously already working on it, but that's got to be something of a point of emphasis as we move in to this Rams game moving forward. So this was about as weird a game as you can get. The Seahawks win without scoring a touchdown. They get 6 field goals. And the build-up to it was so unique. Obviously, all week the talk was about 44-year-old Phillip Rivers coming out of retirement. He officially is the first grandfather to throw a touchdown pass in an NFL game. Pretty cool stuff there. And again, we talked about Kobe Bryant, drafted about a year or two after his retirement, making the interception. I'll say this, Rivers held his own. That interception was more of in desperation late. He protected the football. The only 2 sacks in the day weren't because he held onto the ball too long or something like that. It was actually kind of unique plays where he was trying to escape and he tripped on one. And then there was a bad snap on another. Actually, that wasn't even called a sack, I don't believe. I think they called it a running play. So, hey, props to Phillip Rivers. It's hard enough to get to the NFL in general, but to come out of retirement after almost 5 years at 44 years old and play pretty well against one of the defenses that is at the top of the NFL, that's really impressive stuff. So hats off to Phillip Rivers in that opposition right there. So where do we go from here? Well, it's hard to believe that the Seahawks have just 3 games left, and it's not an easy road. You have the Rams here on Thursday, so on short rest after what was a really grueling kind of slugfest game. Now you got to turn around and play. If the Seahawks are 1, then the Rams are 1A in the NFL, or vice versa, however you want to look at it. So you have to play the best team in the NFL other than yourself on short rest. Then we don't have a date yet. It could be Saturday or Sunday after Christmas, but you go on the road at Carolina, who is a decent football team in the playoff mix right now. And then you finish the season at San Francisco, who always plays the Seahawks tough. And, of course, they are in the playoff picture as it sounds right now. So these are 3 really difficult games here in the home stretch. Getting to 11 right now gives you a really good chance of making the playoffs, even if you lose last week, which nobody wants, right? I still think you need to win to guarantee a playoff bid. 1, and obviously 2 would be even better. But as you move forward in this, you look at how difficult these last 3 games are. And then I think it puts this win in perspective because, again, there was all the things, not to rehash it all, but everything we broke down, there was an issue in this game. The run game struggled. The offense in general couldn't finish. And yet you have to try and find a way to win the game, and that's exactly what the Seahawks did. And I think that's the most special part about this. I've said it week after week. No matter the circumstance, this team finds a way to win. I had to look over there to make sure I wasn't interrupting anything. But you hear every player on this team say constantly, this locker room, we've got each other's backs, we got each other's backs. They say the same thing when they're not even in the same room together. They say, we have each other's backs. Or they say, 12 is 1, chasing edges. All the mottos for this team, but they're not just coach speak. They're not just slogans on T-shirts. They're exactly what this Seahawks team lives and breathes every given day. There is literally no other way to explain why they're 11-3 right now. Yes, they have talent. Yes, they have great, excellent coaching. But there's been things along the way that would trip up even good teams. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs, out of playoff contention after being in the Super Bowl last year. Okay? Really good teams, really good talent on paper does not guarantee you're going to make the playoffs. Okay, so what makes this Seahawks team have 11 wins right now? Why are they in such a better shape than some other teams, even the Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champs right now? It's the idea that this is a really close-knit and tight locker room. And I know that sounds cliche, and you may be wondering, how does that manifest itself on the field? You just saw how it manifests itself on the field. There's a lot of teams that when the Colts took that 1-point lead with 47 seconds left, this is, backs against the wall. This is, oh my God, what are we going to do? This is panic time. Not this team. They knew. They absolutely knew they were going to give Jason Myers somehow, some way, a chance to kick that 6th and game-winning field goal. And that's exactly what they did. And it was effortless, right? It was the pass to Rashid Shaheed after he had a really nice kick return. Really great to see Rashid doing awesome. This was his best game as a Seahawk, outside, of course, of that punt return last week. And then, of course, they had JSN in the flat. And then Jason Myers from 56, ho-hum, makes it. There's something special about this team because they want to win for each other. Every team wants to win. Every athlete, every competitor wants to win. That's the most obvious statement. But when you want to win for the other person in the room, when you're a wide receiver and you want that other receiver to have a good game, when you know what I'm saying, like that sort of regard, that's what makes this team special, and that's how they were able to pull this one out. That's the X factor. When you're talking about a championship caliber team, which the Seahawks are, but like it or not, believe it or not, whatever you want to say. Okay, so what's the X factor? What is going to separate them from a team like the Rams, from a team like the 49ers or the Buffalo Bills or the New England Patriots on the other side? What's that intangible that's going to be able to set you apart? And to me, it's how they win for one another. It's how Mike Macdonald's culture has absolutely set in with this team. They believe and they fight for one another. And I'm not trying to give the rally speech here, but it's evident. It's evident to us when we walk through that Virginia Mason Athletic Center, and I hope it's evident to you all, and it should be after what we just saw. Because that was an ugly game. That was a game where a lot of things did not go as Mike Macdonald and Kubiak planned. But they still won. They still dug deep and found a way to win. So that's what you take from this one. Your Seahawks are 11-3, and they have shown the ability to win in any kind of situation. Blowout, close game, your average 8-point win, whatever you want to call it. They keep finding ways to win. And that's a testament to just finding that will and finding a way. So there you go, 11-3. I think I predicted 11 wins for the whole season back in the summer. That's a testament to the growth of this team, to Sam Darnold coming into a new place and being as awesome as he was, Kubiak coming in and his scheme being great, and Mike Macdonald being an awesome head coach. He should be in consideration. Mike Vrabel is going to be in consideration with the New England Patriots as well because he's done a darn good job there. But Mike Macdonald should absolutely be right there in the conversation for NFL Head Coach of the Year. Let's see how these final three shake out. Toughest stretch of the season at the most important time of year. Let's line them up and see what happens. But your Seahawks are 11-3, tied for the lead in the NFC West with a chance to take sole possession if they can beat the Rams on Thursday in a game that is essentially, at least in this moment, a playoff game to the NFL playoffs. 18-16 the final from Lumen Field. Go Hawks.